The protagonist, Seika, narrates how he has always wanted to be powerful since he was a child. He believed that power would give him happiness. He trained hard and got power from everywhere he could until he was the strongest exorcist in the world. However, he lost everything dear to him one night. His assistant was sent after him, and after looking at the destruction around him, he decided to start all over again. He is then reborn in another world where there are humans as well as demons. Seika is now 7 years old, and he was born into a family of mages, the Lamperouge clan. Seiku is tested for magic by his father, but it seems that he has no affinity for magic. He is the third son of the family, and it is reported that he was born to his father by a mistress. In simple terms, Seika has no rights like his other two brothers, Ruft and Glai. Glai is known to make fun of him because of his lack of magic powers. Unknown to them, his body might not be blessed with magical powers, but Seika is filled with an immense quantity of spiritual power. Seika makes shikigamis with leaves. He can turn these shikigamis into birds and rats that can in turn seek information for him. Shortly afterwards, Seika acquires a bulk load of papers, and he starts cutting them to make them into shikigamis. Up next, Glai is seen making fun of Seika because he will soon be sent to the Lodonia Academy of Magic, while Seika rots at home. While he is doing this, their father arrives to take the boys on their usual magic training, and Seika asks to join them. They are presented with practice targets, and each son is to take his turn in hitting the target with an aspect of magic he is good at. Ruft uses wind magic to hit the target, while Glai uses fire magic to hit the target. The wand is then passed to Seika. Seika doesn't want to reveal how strong he is, because this is why he started over again. However, Glai would continue to bully him if he doesn't show him what he is capable of. Seika uses fire and earth magic that turns the fire into blue, and it destroys the target completely. Everyone is surprised by this, and their father reveals that there have been cases of mages that were born with no magic and they turned out to be great success. His father promises to get him a tutor. Even with what Sakai displayed, Glai is not ready to stop bullying him. Soon afterwards, Seika is now 11 years old, but as usual, there is no celebration for his birthday. In his past life, he defeated and sealed many powerful Ayakashi and then forced them to serve him in battle. By sealing, it means sending them to another plane where he can then call on them whenever he needs them. Seika then summons his less threatening Ayakashi, Akuta Gitsune. She is a fox named Yuki. To hide Yuki from people, Seika turns her into a small fox and then lets her stay in his consciousness where they can communicate. Yuki is also free to show her head whenever people are not looking. Shortly afterward, Seika sees Glai maltreating one of their maids, Yifa. Seika steps in and stops Glai. He takes Yifa to the yard where he reveals that he knows her secret. Apparently, Yifa can see small spirits known as elementals, and she is able to communicate with them. Elementals are gathered around almost everything. Yifa also finds out that Seika can use healing magic. She is surprised that people believe that he doesn't have magic, whereas he is very special. Seika uses one of his shikis to make a fire, and he asks Yifa to put it out with magic. She is able to use the elementals to put out the fire. Seika continues to train Yifa for the next year until he is 12 years old. No one seemed to care about his birthday once again. Later on, a report came in to inform the residents of the house that a beast is coming towards the house. Their father is not at home and all hope seems to be lost. Even Glai, who is always acting all strong, runs and hides under a table. Seika faces the giant salamander and defeats it with fire coupled with poison magic. Everyone in the house witnessed this and they talked about how amazing Seika is. Because of his victory against the giant newt, the family is treated to a nice dinner by their father. During dinner, Seika tells his father that he would like to go to Lodonia Academy. His father is a count, but he tells Seika that he will not be using his connections to help him get into the academy. He will need to pass the exams on merit. Seika also wants Yifa to accompany him as his servant. His father does not want Yifa to follow him because he believes that Yifa does not possess any magic abilities. Seika then tells Yifa to shoot a fireball, and she does this. Everyone is surprised by the amount of power she managed to generate from a low-rank spell. Glai is furious when he hears that his father is allowing Seika and Yifa to go to the academy. It is in the traditions that two children from a family cannot follow the same path. His father reveals his decision. Glai is to join the army while Seika is to go to the academy. He believes that Seika has improved himself over the years while Glai just messes around the town. Glai decides to challenge Seikia to a duel to choose who will go to the academy. Their father allows it and Seika accepts the challenge. That night, Ruft visits Seikia to give him a pen and wish him good luck. Moments after he leaves, Glai uses wind magic to open Seika's magic and asks him to come outside for their duel. It's not even time for the duel yet, chill bro. Glai insists, and Seika has no choice but to fight him. Whoever loses will tell their father that he has forfeited the duel. Glai comes at Seika, but he easily dispels all of his attacks. He brings out one of his shikis as a representation of Glai. He attacks the shiki and Glai feels the pain instead. Glai finally passes out because of the pain. Seika then reveals that he has been planning to go to the academy for a long time. Seika had summoned one of his Ayashis to go into the mountain and chase down the giant salamander. He is then able to defeat the salamander and prove that he is strong. Shortly afterwards, Seika and Aoife leave for the academy. Seika gives Aoife a pendant to wear around her neck at all times. They are to spend 7 days on the road to Lodonea, but it is going to be hell for Seikia because he gets carriage sick. We get to know about something important from Seika's father. He sits down in his chambers and remembers how Seika came to be. His brother Gilbert had left home to be an adventurer. However, he disappeared when he was in the territory of the demons. Later on, someone came with baby Seika and told the Count that his brother fathered the boy. The Count has been raising Seika as his son since then. The Count intentionally sent Seika to the academy because he feels that he is powerful and the fate of the nation might rest on him one day. Upon getting to Ludonea, Aoife offers to sleep in Seika's room, but he refuses. After she leaves, Yuki surfaces and tells Seika that Aoife is obviously in love with him. The next day, the potential students are to gather for a magic test. They are to touch a glowing ball to see the type of magic they have. There is earth, wind, fire, and water. In addition to these four, there is light and dark magic also. Aoife touches the ball and it shows that she has wind magic. Seika touches it, but nothing happens. His fellow exam takers start mocking him that he is probably looking to get into the academy by using connections. Seika asks if he can still take the exam without magic powers, and the examiner says yes. Moments later, a girl, Amyu, arrives to test her magic abilities. She touches the ball and it reveals that she has an affinity for all four elements. When Seika sees this, he looks happy. It seems he knows her from his past life. However, Amyu looks arrogant and doesn't even want to be friends with anybody. After taking their written exams, it is time to take the practical exams. Seika cannot wait to see what Amyu can do. When it is Aoife's turn, she uses fire magic and wind magic to destroy the targets that are presented to her. The examiner, Mr. Cordell, assures the students not to worry because there are plenty of dummy targets that are available. Seika takes the stage to show what he has got. He destroys each and every one of the targets with fire, earth, and water magic. He says his wind magic is not perfect yet, so that is all he has to offer. Amyu also passed the practical test relatively easily. One of the teachers, Karen, informs Cordell that Amyu is her student, and there is a possibility that she is the hero because of her strength. Later on, the test results are released. Seika is the third highest, Aoife is second, and Amyu is the top student. With this, the students that passed are enrolled into the academy, and Aoife is disappointed that she will be staying in a different dorm from Seika. Aoife and Seika are walking around the school when Seika notices something odd. He enters the woods to check it out. It turns out to be a magic circle. Seika immediately releases some of his shikis into the environment for reconnaissance. The duo leaves the area to attend the welcome ceremony. As the top student, Amyu is given the responsibility to give the speech. While they are at the ceremony, the magic circles activate and demons troop out of the circle and attack the hall. Panic breaks out among the students, but Amyu keeps her cool. She draws her sword and starts to eliminate the monsters. Seika realizes that the beasts are decoys and they are being controlled by someone else. The caster is standing near the magic circle and Seika decides to go after him instead. He arrives at the circle and sees the demon general, who introduces himself as Gull. The demon is surprised that one human has come to challenge him all by himself. Seika attacks him with some basic spells, but it seems the demon is past that level. The demon attacks Seika and he manages to injure him. The demon sees Seika as an arrogant person and he is ready to eliminate him easily. He uses teleportation magic to throw weapons at Seika. Gull reveals that they are there to find the hero and eliminate her. Gull has gotten the report that Amyu is the hero, and they need to eliminate her before she grows any stronger. Gull attacks Seika with a spell that appears to have terminated him. He begins to leave, but he is shocked to find out that Seika is still alive. Seika has been using his shikis as decoys to take in all the attacks that Gull has thrown at him. Gull is not ready to give up, and he continues to give Seika a tough time. He manages to impale Seika at one point, but he soon realizes that it is another fake. Seika starts to lecture Gull on magics that he can use. Gull is pretty sure that Seika's shikis will soon run out. Turns out that he is wrong because Seika has made thousands of them over the years. To show Gull how strong he is, Seika summons Mizuchi, a dragon, to fight Gull. Gull is surprised by this because even the Demon Lord is not capable of summoning a dragon. Well, he did tell you that he is the strongest, but you didn't believe it. The dragon has no trouble consuming Gull in just one sweep of attack. However, he tries to escape and Seika has no choice but to trick him into the sealed plane before he goes on a rampage. Seika is surprised that Mizuchi will try to escape and go against his command. Seika returns to the hall to find out that Amyu has killed all the lesser demons. This makes Seika happy because he now has someone to portray as the strongest. He will be able to take attention away from himself by helping Amu to get even stronger. He plans to become Amu's friend and help her. He is not ready to make the same mistakes he made in his past life. Up next, Seika and Aoife are taking a stroll when a concoction almost spills on them. Cordell reveals that the concoction is a mixture of demon's blood and other things. He was trying to levitate it, but he failed. Aoife and Seika leave because they have a class. Karen then informs them inside the class that the 2 top students are to take the roaster into the forest as an offering. This is an opportunity for Seika to get close to Amu, so he instructs Aoife to refuse the errand so he can be picked instead. On the day of the errand, Amu and Seika are walking through the forest when they find a magic circle. They step on the circle, and it suddenly transports them to an underground tunnel. Monsters suddenly appear and attack the duo, but Amu easily takes them out. Judging from their environment, they realize that they are in a dungeon. Before they got transported into the dungeon, Seika had already placed his shikis in the surroundings to scout for him. Amu and Seika have to find a way out of the dungeon. They are soon attacked by a horde of monsters again. Amu fights them off, but she gets knocked out in the process. Seeing that Amu is out, Seika is now free to fight with everything he has. He summons a giant centipede to eliminate all the monsters. Moments later, Amu wakes up to find out that Seika has defeated all the monsters. Amu is feeling some sort of headache, and Seika realizes that someone has placed a curse on her. He creates a barrier to relieve her of the symptoms. He brings out one of his shikis and uses it as a substitute for Amu. He transfers the curse to the talisman, and Amu gets better immediately. Amu tells Seika that she has always loved fighting. This made her parents call her a weird being. She is confused as to why she's like that. Seika assures her that everyone has their purpose in life, and she will soon get to find out what her own purpose is. After everything is settled, it is time for the duo to fight the remaining goblins and find the dungeon boss. Once the boss is defeated, they will find a way out of the dungeon. However, Seika already has a way out, but he just wants Amu to have some fun and gain a little experience by fighting the dungeon boss. The duo starts to fight the dungeon boss, and Seika is able to use his magic to hold the beast down for Amu to jump from above and terminate him. Amu is so happy because she has never defeated a dungeon boss in the past. They find a sword and a ring in the dungeon. Seika gives the sword to Amu while he takes the ring. He plans to give the ring to Aoife later on. When they arrive back at school, Seika tells the teachers most of what happened, but left out the curse part and the situations where he used his own spells. Later on, Seika pays a visit to Cordell. Seika has figured out that Cordell is a spy for the demons. He was the one that told them about Amu. He was also the one that placed a curse on Amu. He used the demon's blood as the medium of a target. The night that Amu fought the demons, she was covered in demon's blood. Cordell realizes that Seika already has everything figured out. He tried to kill Seika with a curse, but Seika absorbs it and returns the curse back to him. People in this world might not know how to go about it, but he has experience from his past life. He is the strongest after all. 1 year later, Aoife, Amu, and Seika are seen in the dining hall eating when the vice principal comes over to inform Aoife and Seika that the principal would like to see them in her office the next day. The duo is worried that they have done something bad for the principal to be asking for them. The following day, the duo makes their way to the principal's office. Seika is surprised that the principal is actually real because they haven't seen her before. He always thought the principal was a figurehead. They enter the principal's office to find out that he is a demi-human, and that means she is a dwarf. The principal then tells the duo that the annual tournament that takes place in the capital is coming up. A new student, Mabel, enters the room. The principal informs them that the school has 2 slots. Mabel will take one. Aoife and Seika should then decide who will go between them. It was always a skills tournament, but magic is allowed this year. Seika decides to go with Mabel. Amu is furious when she hears this. She wonders why she wasn't invited. Seika has the same thought too, but he cannot contest the principal's order. Whoever wins the competition will be rewarded with a bulk load of money and will also be given the chance to join the Royal Guard. There is also confusion as to why a new student is picked to fight instead of Amu. Amu is still saying mean things about Mabel when the group runs into her. Amu decides to challenge her to see the level of her strength. They are to fight with practice swords. Amu is very confident and she goes after Mabel, but she easily blocks her attacks. Mabel incorporates magic into her attacks and she is able to disarm Amu. Amu counts this as cheating, but Mabel reminds her that magic is now allowed at the tournament. This is a different type of tournament where people might get hurt. After losing to Mabel, Amu decides that she will join them on the trip. Aoife will also be following them. Soon afterward, Seika, Aoife, Mabel, and Amu arrive at the capital. Seika gets carriage sick again, and he barely managed to get to the capital. The group leaves for the arena where the tournament is to take place. pick the pairings to know who they will be going up against. The tournament is to begin that same day. The host tells the spectators and participants the rules before declaring open the tournament. Seika's first opponent is a swordsman named Dennis. Dennis is very confident that he will defeat Seika. Seika reveals that he will end the match quickly because he is not feeling too well. The match starts and Dennis comes at Seika at great speed, but Seika dodges it easily. He gets behind him and knocks him out of the battle stage with powerful magic that leaves Dennis barely alive. Seika tells Yuki that he plans to win just a few matches and drop out to conceal how strong he is. The next participants are Sage and Kyle. The match begins and Kyle uses his powerful magic eye to incapacitate. He moves closer to him and pushes his sword into his neck. Kyle is a guard from the Rugrock Mercenaries Association, and Kyle seems to be their best student. Seika knows that there is more to Kyle because his stance and appearance look very dangerous. He plans to find out more about him. Seika's next opponent comes to the stage with an anti-magic golem. Seika wastes no time in defeating the golem with the help of one of his invisible Ayashis. No one must find out that he used summoning magic or else he will be disqualified. Summoners are not allowed at the tournament. We get to see Mabel in action. The host reveals that Mabel has the name of the first hero, and she also uses the same weapon as her. They even share the same birth date. Mabel easily defeats her opponent by using gravity magic. Later that night, Seika catches one of the tournament officials who is a spy for the demons. Seika is able to intercept the message he is trying to pass along. The spy tries to hurt Seika, but he uses magic vines to hold down the spy. He asks him several questions, but he refuses to answer. Seika then summons Satori, a monkey-like beast that is capable of reading people's minds. Satori reads the spy's mind, and he begins to tell Seika everything he needs to know. Turns out that the demons are after Mabel because they believe that she is the hero. She has red hair, her birth date is the same as the first hero. The assassins and spy they sent to the school died, and this makes the demons conclude that Mabel is the hero. After all of his questions have been answered, Seika gives Satori permission to devour the spy. Satori returns to his place after this. Seika checks the note that the spy was trying to send. He already killed the spy, so there is no way for him to decipher it again. He destroys the note since he already has the information that he wants. Seika realizes that the demons were misinformed about who the hero is. Seika already killed Gull and Cordell, the two people who know about Amu. The school must have found out about Amu too, and they decide to send Mabel as decoy. If Mabel is killed in the tournament, the demons would believe that they have successfully terminated the hero. The next day, Seika makes it to the semifinals, and he will be facing Mabel. She tells Seika to forfeit the match because she will not be holding back against him. Kyle makes it to the semifinal also, and he easily defeats his opponent. He is about to kill his opponent when the judges quickly declare him the winner of the round. That night, Mabel attacks Seika in his room. She throws several attacks at him, but it doesn't look like she wants to kill him. A passerby interrupts the fight, and Mabel uses the opportunity to disappear. However, Seika decides to find Mabel and know what her intentions are. Seika finds Mabel that night so he can ask her why she attacked him. Seika reveals that he knows that Mabel is there to cover for Ayumi. Mabel tells Seika that her main objective is to kill Kyle. Kyle was sent by the mercenaries to show how strong they are. Mabel reveals that the mercenaries kidnap children and train them into merciless killers. They are always put into groups of 4, and one is always selected out of the 4. Surgery will be carried out on the selected person who has performed better. Surgery will be performed on the person to fix the magical eye into them. Their emotions will be suppressed to turn them into emotionless killers that are to carry out any order that is given to them. The selected fellow is then told to kill the remaining 3 in the group. Mabel informs Seika that she was part of the children that were trained as mercenaries, and she was in Kyle's group. She is the last person to be killed in the group. Instead of Kyle just killing her, they have decided that he will kill her at the tournament in order for Kyle to be famous. Mabel says Kyle killed his brother, and that is the reason she wants to kill him. Seika sees through her lies and says Kyle did not kill her brother. Instead, Kyle is her brother. Mabel then confesses that her brother already told her to free him anytime he loses himself. Kyle is now a shadow of himself, and Mabel needs to do something about it. This is the reason Mabel needs to fight Kyle in the finals. Seika realizes that Mabel fighting Kyle will be a death sentence. He tells Mabel that he will fight Kyle in the finals instead. Mabel is not ready to accept, and she vows to defeat Seika in the semifinals. The following day, Mabel and Seika meet on the battle stage. She shows up with her real weapon because there is no need for her to hide from Seika again. The match begins, and Mabel comes at Seika hard. Seika already has plans on how to defeat Mabel. He holds Mabel down with mercury vines and uses a spell to make her weapon heavy. He is able to incapacitate Mabel. and the judges declare Seika the winner of the match. Seika tells Mabel to leave Kyle to him. Up next, the match between Kyle and Seika begins. Seika uses a smokescreen spell to cover the arena so one would see what is going on. Apparently, Kyle still remembers that Mabel is his sister, but the emotions are not there again. They have been clouded with his obligation to carry out the order given to him. Seika uses different spells, but they don't work. He then summons a Minotaur. Kyle isn't scared to fight the Minotaur, and that's where he made a mistake. He tries attacking the Minotaur, but one punch from the beast is enough to knock Kyle out. He really thought he could stand a chance against the beast. After he is knocked out, Seika gets close to him, but he soon realizes that a curse is on Kyle. He puts up the barrier, but it is not enough. Kyle holds Seika's hand and tells him to apologize to his sister on his behalf. The spell eats away Kyle's soul, and he dies. Seika is furious that a curse was placed on Kyle. He is strong enough to bring Kyle back to life, and he is about to do that when Yuki begs him and reminds him of his promise. He does not want people to know how strong he is. It was hard for Seika to leave Kyle to die, but he had no choice. He transfers Kyle's body to another location, and when the smokescreen clears, he tells the judges that he destroyed him without leaving a trace. Seika is declared winner of the tournament, but he humbly declines the offer to join the royal guards. Later on, Seika takes Mabel to where he buried Kyle so she can say goodbye to him. Seika tells Mabel that his brother apologized before dying. Seika tells Mabel that they will return to the academy together, and he promises to protect Mabel from anyone that might wish to harm her. Seika later tells Aoife and Amu about what happened. Amu challenges Mabel to another fight, and this time around she wins. She declares them even, and she shakes Mabel's hand to welcome her into the group. Upon returning to the academy, Seika goes to see the principal. It was just as he had thought. The principal had everything planned out, and she knew that Seika would defeat Kyle in the end. She reveals that Mabel came to her and begged her for help. She wanted to free her brother, and that was the only way she could help her. The principal informs Seika that she knows how strong he is. She has lived a long life, so there is nothing that can hide from her sights. She actually stopped counting her age when she clocked 300 years old. That means she is well over 300 years old. As days go by, the group begins to help Mabel to study. She has not attended school before, so it will take her time to adjust and learn everything there is to learn. Mabel has also removed the red dye from her hair to reveal her natural silver hair. It is the summer break, and everybody is preparing to go home. Seika informs his friends that the Asteria nation has begged his father to come for an investigation. His father has transferred the task to him instead. Mabel and Amu want to follow him, but he reminds them that they have parents waiting for them at home. Moreover, Mabel needs time to study very well. Aoife will go with him instead. The investigation is about a dragon. They are in the middle of this discussion when the crown prince of Asteria, Cecilio, walks in. He himself has come to visit the Empire. He immediately falls in love with Aoife upon setting his eyes on her. He wants Aoife to become one of his harems and marry him. This comes as a shock to everyone but his guard, an elven woman. Lise reminds him that the hall is no such place for talks like that. They take their meeting to another room. Cecilio reveals that there is a dragon in Asteria that has always lived peacefully with them. He has started acting strange and attacking people over the past year. It is said that the first queen of the nation was responsible for the first dragon egg to have lived in the nation. Seika's job will be to find out why the dragon has suddenly changed. After the meeting, he tells Mabel and Amu everything that was discussed. He also believes that Aoife might be interested in becoming Cecilio's wife, but the girls tell him to forget that thought. 2 days later, Aoife and Seika leave with Cecilios' entourage back to Asteria. After 9 stressful days for Seika, they finally arrive in the country. They haven't even used 5 minutes when the said dragon flies by and makes a scene. A mercenary, Zekt, shows up and summons a lava tiger to engage the dragon, but the dragon flies away immediately. The dragon turned its attention toward Aoife, and she froze. The tiger is about to hurt her, but Seika constructs a barrier to obstruct the dragon. Zekt then tames his beast and returns it to the sealed plain. Cecilio reveals that he hired the mercenaries to kill the dragon because he believes that is the only way to put a stop to the situation. Seika is mad that the dragon almost injured his servant. Cecilio apologizes for this, and Zekt leaves after a tense moment. Seika then scolds Aoife for not stepping up to define herself when the tiger came for her. Later on, Aoife and Seika enter the library to learn more about the dragon. The dragon is said to have been around for over 150 years. A female dragon later came to join him. This same occurrence happened, and the dragons got weary of humans. Turns out that they had eggs then. After they hatched, the kids left the nest. The female dragon later died, leaving only the male dragon. Seika decides that he will climb the mountain where the dragon is staying and take a look at it up close. He has no intention of fighting the dragon. Later that night, Aoife knocks on Seika's door. She informs Seika that Cecilio has asked her to come to his chambers, but she is not ready to go. Seika is surprised that the prince will call for Aoife late at night. Aoife begs to spend the night with Seika, and he agrees. Before they sleep, Seika reveals that Aoife is free to marry Cecilio if she wants. He will not stop her from a life-changing decision. Aoife is surprised that Seika is unusually cool with that idea. She tells Seika that she would have to think about it. The following morning, Yuki reminds Seika that Aoife is over heels for him. Seika has not always seen Aoife like that because they practically grew up together. Before leaving for the mountain, Seika informs Cecilio of his plans. Cecilio tells Seika that he is willing to pay any amount for Aoife, but Seika refuses again. The decision lies entirely on Aoife, Seika says. Cecilio is happy that Seika is leaving for the mountain, and he starts getting some weird ideas. Lisa later calls Aoife to inform her that she is a descendant of elves. That is the reason she can control the elementals. The city is also filled with immense magical power, and this is the same reason the dragons have been there. Lisa wants Aoife to also join Cecilios' harem. Lisa sees Seika as a demon. She says the elementals do not go near him, and this is what happens around demons. She wants Aoife to stop serving him because they don't know what type of power he wields. Aoife defends Seika and says has been with him since they were young. However, she doesn't know who her mother is. Lise believes that there is a possibility that Seika's mother is a demon. Seika summons the centipede to help him to get to the top of the mountains faster. He comes face to face with the dragon. The dragon attacks him, but he easily protects himself with a barrier. He uses a powerful net to hold down the dragon so it won't be able to make use of its wings. Seika finds out that the dragon has an egg. The dragon is a male, so how come there is an egg? Seika reveals that the dragon must have changed his sex because there are some species of lizards and snakes that are capable of doing so too. Seika realizes how to help the dragon. You need to change the position of the egg at intervals so that the fire can touch each point. This is how the first queen helped the dragon to hatch her egg the very first time. Meanwhile, Lisa is giving Aoife a tour of the harem. Aoife successfully helps the dragon to keep the egg warm by creating fire around it. The dragon is very pleased with this, and he doesn't want Seika to leave again. Back in the castle, Cecilio is trying to force Aoife into signing a document that will revoke Seika's claim over her and transfer it to himself. Aoife doesn't want to do this, but Cecilio is ready to use force. Lise cuts her finger in order for it to bleed. They are about to make her sign the document using her blood when Seika arrives on the dragon's back. Everyone is surprised by this, and Aoife couldn't be happier. Seika doesn't know what was happening before his arrival. He just tells them that he needs someone that can use fire magic to keep the dragon's egg warm. He asks Aoife to follow him. Together, they ride on the dragon's back, and this has always been Aoife's dream. She decides not to tell Seika of what Cecilio tried to do to her. Upon arriving at the dragon's nest, they are attacked by Zect and his men. He reveals that he has been lying to the prince about the dragon attacking people. What he wanted from the start is the dragon's egg. He attacks the duo with his lava tiger, but Aoife pushes the tiger away with water magic. Seika is impressed that Aoife is now capable of using water magic also. Seika deals the final blow and finishes off the tiger. Aoife also destroys Zekt's spellbook to prevent him from performing further spells. The group is arrested and turned over to the prince. Seika reveals that all the dragon wanted was someone to help her keep the egg warm. The dragon counts the humans as her parents. This is why he has been protecting the capital ever since. Seika is surprised when Cecilio asks him to kill the dragon after everything he just told him. Cecilio wants to achieve something so that he will be made king without any hitch. Killing the dragon sounds amazing to him. Seika refuses the request and the prince decides to arrest him. Seika is willing to play along until he realizes that Cecilio is just after Aoife. This infuriates him and jumps in between Cecilio and Aoife. He reveals that he cannot give Aoife to someone like him. Seika is ready to do anything at that moment to protect Aoife. Aoife's face turns red when she sees this. Lisa breaks the tension and decides to ask Aoife how she feels about the prince. Aoife tells everyone right there that she is not interested in the prince and she would like to go back to the academy with Seika. Aoife has spoken her mind and that is settled. Before leaving, Lise calls Aoife aside. She grants him some light elementals that will give her the power to heal. She wishes her comrade good luck on her journey. She also wishes that Seika will recognize her feelings one day. Later on, we see a group of demons killing everyone in their path. The captain of the group vows to defeat the hero no matter what. Up next, Seika informs his friends that his father has invited them over to their castle. He wants to meet Amu and Mabel in person. He has heard so much about them and would like to meet them. On the other hand, Seika is not really interested in going. He is trying to avoid anything concerning politics in this current life. This is what led to his downfall in his past life. Mabel has also been officially adopted by Baron Crane. Days later, Seika and his friends arrive at his family's mansion. They are welcomed by Aoife's father, Edis. He is the head servant in the house. Seika is surprised to see that Glai is around. The first thing Glai says to his brother after seeing each other for a long time is for him to fight him. This guy never learns. Amyu decides to fight on behalf of Seika when she learns that Glai has always bullied Aoife and Seika. Seika promises to fight Glai if he manages to defeat Amyu. The rule of the fight is simple. No magic is allowed. The match begins and Amyu is gaining ground until Glai tricks her into believing that he wants to use magic. Amyu loses her footing and Glai wins the fight. He might have cheated, but he won the fight. It is now time for him to fight Seika. The match is about to begin when a lady shows up. Glai is surprised to see her and he introduces her to the group. She is Fiona, the Holy Princess. Glai is her personal guard and she refers to Glai as her Holy Knight. The Holy Princess is not an official rank, but it has been given to Fiona because of the circumstances surrounding her birth. 15 years ago, the priestess at the temple located in the capital gave birth to a child. Turns out that the emperor is the child's father. She has the blood of the royal line and that of a priestess. This is the reason she is called the Holy Princess. Seika knew beforehand that Fiona was at the mansion, and this is the reason he was reluctant to come. Fiona reveals that she wanted to meet Amyu and Seika. Amyu is excited to be in the presence of the princess. Fiona is also impressed with the relationship between Seika and Aoife. On the other hand, Edis is furious that her daughter has been made to serve Seika. He doesn't trust Seika, but the Count believes that Seika is a good person. The Count praises Seika on his topic proposal concerning the dragon. Later that night, Amyu visits Seika in his room. She reveals her intention to become an adventurer after they graduate from their lower grades. Seika promises to join her on her adventurous journey. He has plans to explore this world too, and this seems like the perfect way to do so. After she leaves, Yuki reminds Seika of the real reason he became friends with Amyu. The following day, Fiona decides to take a tour of the town. She prevents her knights from following her, but Amyu, Glai, and Seika serve as her escort. She buys everything delicious she finds while also holding Seika's hands. They get to a construction site and Fiona walks under one of the planks. The rope holding the plank cuts and almost falls on Fiona, but Amyu and Glai use their magic to save her. Seika does nothing because he is well aware that the duo is more than capable of protecting the princess. Seika buys Fiona a head tie that she loves. He even uses his earth magic to construct a mirror so that Fiona can admire herself. Later on, Glai reveals the real reason Fiona was taking a tour. She is into politics and she aims to be the ruler at some point. Glai tells Seika not to get too involved in the nation's politics. Looks like Glai cares about his brother after all. He reveals that Fiona has the ability to look into the future. She intentionally walked under the construction site earlier on because she was expecting Seika to save her. Next, Seika starts to avoid Fiona. Fiona is already used to him, and he is trying to create some sort of space between them. Amyu later convinces him to go and see Fiona because she appears to be lonely. She is sitting on the terrace while playing chess all by herself. Fiona is very happy when she sees Seika. Seika says he is a noob when it comes to chess, but he is still willing to play against Fiona. Fiona then makes a bet with Seika. The person that wins the game gets to ask the loser to do anything of his or her choice. However, the loser is free to refuse if he or she thinks he cannot do what is asked. During the game, Fiona reveals that the masses are the strongest in any nation. They have the power to overthrow any ruler if they are dissatisfied. Seika comments on her ability to see the future. Fiona immediately realizes that Glai must have told him about it. Moments later, Seika gives up on the game when he realizes that he will lose in the next couple of moves. Seika is not angry that Fiona is using her ability. He counts it as fair. Seika really hopes that Fiona has forgotten their bet, but that is not the case. She tells Seika that she will demand what she wants later on. In the next scene, we see the group of demons wiping out a troop of bandits. We are introduced to each member of the group. Mudarev, the strongest ogre. Loni is a powerful tamer. Pirslaria uses the evil eye. Gol Ganis, the devil. Ganis is Gol's brother, the demon whom Seika eliminated earlier in the story. Ganis is also the candidate to become the next head of the Black Clan. Zor is the captain of the group. Zor's ability gives him the strength to see other people's power and strength. Up next, it is time for Fiona to return to the capital. Seika, Mabel, and Amyu are to accompany Fiona back to the capital. Seika, Fiona, and Glai share the same carriage. She has lots of carriages in her convoy that act as decoys. Seika soon realizes that some group of bandits is watching them. They attack the convoy, and Seika immediately gets out to take care of the threat. He creates a barrier to repel everything thrown at the convoy. Glai also comes out and deals his own punishment on the bandits. Fiona asks Seika to take the bandits alive, and he concurs. Seika conjures magical vines to disarm the bandits and incapacitate them. Mabel and Amu have gone far before they notice that there is a break in the convoy. The duo later rushes back, but Seika and Glai have neutralized the threat. Fiona plans to question the bandits to know who sent them. Fiona then tells Seika that there is also another group of bandits targeting her, but they have met a gruesome end. These are the bandits that Zor and his group wiped off. Soon afterward, they arrive at the temple. Seika, Amu, and Mabel cannot enter. They just stay at the gate and say goodbye to Fiona. Fiona assures Seika that she will always be on his side. Meanwhile, Zor and his comrades are getting closer. Their plan is to kill the hero, and Ganis is hoping to avenge his brother too. Seika is called to the principal's office to be informed that he will be the one to welcome the new batch of students. Seika accepts the responsibility and leaves. When he gets outside, he tells Yuki that he has decided to live as normal people do and not be scared of how strong he is. He has the feeling that some people are coming with the intent of attack. Seika is waiting patiently for them. Soon afterward, Zor and his party arrive at the gate of the academy. They make plans on how to invade the school and successfully carry out their task. Murderev gives the group the necessary motivation they need, even though he has said the same line 6 times already. Ganis uses his teleportation power to take them inside the school walls. They get separated when they enter the school premises. They find themselves covered in red fog. We all know this is Seika's handwork. Ganis sees 2 guys come close to him and he attacks them, but it turns out to be fake versions of Seika. Murderev encounters Mabel. Mabel believes that the ogre is an assassin that has been sent by the mercenaries to kill her. She engages the ogre with ferocity. Murderev is happy to be facing off against a strong opponent. He gains the upper hand, and he is about to smash Mabel's head when Seika's earth magic protects her and takes her away from the location. Murderev sees one of Seika's talismans on the site. Moments later, the party regroups and they all have a talisman in their hand. They know something weird is happening, but they can't seem to figure it out yet. Zor knows there is no need to continue the mission again and calls it off. They are about to leave when they hear Seika's chanting behind him. Zor uses his power to assess Seika's strength, and he is surprised with what he is seeing. Murderev also senses that Seika is a strong opponent, and he reveals his plan to fight him. He hasn't finished his statement when Seika launches a fast attack at him and eliminates him with 1 shot. Perslara is furious and she tries attacking Seika with her evil eye. Seika summons a giant serpent that turns her attack on her and kills her instead. Lo Ni tries to tame the serpent, but he ends up being eaten by the snake. Ganis is surprised when Zor tells him that attacking Seika was a mistake. He informs Ganis that they are standing in the presence of the Demon King and they need to run while they still can. However, that can no longer be possible. Zor decides to stay back and try to give Ganis some time to escape. Zor creates some sort of barrier to repel Seika's attack. However, the attack goes through, killing Zor, and Ganis barely escapes. He finds himself on the other side of the school walls, but he is mortally injured. Ganis manages to send a fire into the air before finally dying. Moments later, Mabel runs over to inform Seika that she saw someone that is probably from the Mercenaries Association. Seika realizes that his smokescreen spell didn't work on Mabel because of her determination. He assures Mabel that everything is taken care of and shouldn't worry. He tells her not to tell any of their friends about what happened. Shortly afterward, Royal Knights arrive at the academy to arrest Amu. She is accused of killing an emissary from the Demon Nation. Amu is surprised by the crime she's being accused of committing. Yifa and Mabel are about to draw their weapons, but Seika stops them. He is very sure that it is a big misunderstanding and it will be resolved very soon. Later on, Seika visits the principal to learn more about the situation. The principal informs him that the high-ranking families in the Empire are making plans to kill Amu. They have found out that she is the hero, but they believe that there is no need for a hero. More information on that later. The principal says she's doing everything she can to save Amu. After leaving the principal's office, Seika looks very furious. The thought of Amu dying when she has done nothing wrong just keeps him boiling. Yuki tries to convince him not to get involved, but he is way past that already. He summons Mizuchi and the dragon initially acts erratically. Seika shows him a stern and serious face and Mizuchi calms down immediately. He bows down to his master and listens to what he has to say. Yuki makes another attempt to change Seika's mind. She doesn't want him to go against the powerful people in the nation, but Seika is not having any of that. He already has the plan to kill anyone who witnessed his power. Seika instructs the dragon to head for the Imperial Castle where Amu is being held. The journey that normally takes days by carriage takes just some minutes to get there on the dragon's back. He sends thousands of his talismans into the castle for reconnaissance. He successfully finds where Amu is being held and he steps into the castle. He is stopped by the guards and Seika gives him the option to run. He is willing to let them live if they look away. The knights refuse and attack him. Seika is furious and he attacks the knights without mercy. He summons a ruthless Ayashi to assist in the elimination of the guards. Turns out to be a bloodbath as Seika sweeps through the guards with ease. He makes it to Amu's cell. She has mixed feelings when she sees him. She is happy to see him and at the same time concerned about the powerful people he is willing to go against. Seika informs her that her life is in danger because she is the hero. Amyu is surprised to hear this because this is the first time to hear it. The hero is someone who reincarnates once every few centuries at the same time as the Demon King. Amyu is the hero this time around. They are in the middle of this discussion when Glai and Fiona arrive. She reveals the reasons the nobles want to kill Amyu. The demon nation and the humans were once small nations. A war broke out, and the demons were gaining the upper hand until a hero showed up and single-handedly defeated the demons. Both nations are grown now, and they both have well-equipped armies. Neither of the nations wants war, and the hero being alive stands as a sign of war. Both nations want the hero to continue living in peace. This is the reason the demons have been sending assassins to kill Amyu. Fiona then tells Seika the reward she wants for winning the chess game. She wants Seika to let her handle the situation and promises to keep Amyu safe. Seika says he has no reason to trust Fiona. Fiona is hurt by his words. She then asks Seika and Amyu to follow her. If his desire is to take Amyu away, she is ready to help them. She already has a carriage waiting to take them to the free city of Rachna. Seika realizes that Fiona is truly trying to help them, and he apologizes for not being able to keep his promise about the game reward. As a show of good faith, Seika shows how powerful he is when he resurrects all the knights he killed before entering the cell. This just shows how good-hearted the Demon King is. After Amyu and Seika leave, Fiona reveals that she knows that Seika is this generation's Demon King. However, Seika has a good heart, and he is willing to help people even to his own detriment. He is even protecting the hero. As they make their way to Rachna, Seika and Amyu comment on their disappointment to have left the academy with just 1 year to go. Amyu is also disappointed that she didn't get to hear Seika's speech to the new student. Later on, Yifa and Mabel come over to join the duo in Rachna. Amyu and Seika cannot wait to start their journey as adventurers.